Okay, for those of you, we're still not on Facebook Live, but for those of you who are tuning in on YouTube, welcome. Today we're going to talk about testing that will help your brain and your body. And you know what? I just realized, Andre, you're still private. There we go. I don't know if we're live, but you are private. You can't see that 30 seconds. Let me get the book. For some reason it's not. Andre, if we're live, I cannot hear anything. As you know, this is a radio show, so we're live, hopefully. Andre, I cannot hear you. We're on the air. Welcome back. Welcome to the Lillian McDermott radio show. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at Lillian's radio show, Facebook Live, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, for those of you, like I said, who have been tuning in for the last 7.5 years, or maybe just tuned in not too long ago, or just this morning for the first time. We've done a show in the past, not too long ago, that blew me away, and it was with Dr. William J. Walsh. The book is called Nutrient Power. They've got it down to a science, to about 7 different personality types or deficiency types. I'm sure that my guest today will be able to elaborate a little bit better. But personality types or deficiencies in the human body that can create behavioral issues. And so if you want to check that show out, you're welcome to. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and it's on podcasts. And it's with Dr. William J. Walsh. And again, the book is called Nutrient Power. I heard him speak at an ACIM conference. And when he had me at hello. Then I had him on the show. And after the show, I said to William Walsh, where do you do your testing? What kind of testing do you do? And I wanted to learn a little bit more. And that is when he talked about DHA Lab. So immediately, that's who they trust. And immediately I reached out to Dan Hanson, who is the one that runs this whole thing. He's the one that reached out to me, and we had a wonderful conversation, very generous. And I want you to get to know you because get to know him because we are giving a free gift. Actually, they are giving a free gift so that we could all learn about the deficiencies in our bodies. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dan Hanson is here to do just that. Welcome, Dan, to the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Lillian, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the warm welcome.
Well, thank you for being so warm and welcoming yourself. And not only were you excited to be on the show, but you were also excited to give away some of the things, the gifts. And when I say it, this is a gift to learn what our deficiencies are in the body. But before we get started, share a little bit about your background and what led you to DHA Lab.
Well, it comes from a deep interest in biochemistry, really nutrients that are critical to brain health and biochemistry as a whole. A lot of what we'll talk about today and what's really featured in Dr. William Walsh's work is looking at these elements that are critical to producing healthy neurotransmitter levels. And that comes down to just being the healthiest version of yourself. I think your listeners and your show does a wonderful job of helping people understand that there's a great way you can take healthcare into your own hands, safe and effectively. And it's something that I'm extremely passionate about, whether it comes down to nutrients that are just critical for supporting mental and emotional conditions, because we know that that's a big subject in America today, or if
Yes.
it's nutrients that are critical for helping develop babies and helping really just biochemistry as a whole. That's what DHA does, and that's what I'm here to support.
Very good. And so with DHA, you've been with them for a long time, right?
Absolutely. One of the owners, it's been, my family has been based in laboratory science. I'm actually third generation in my family to work in and out of a laboratory and assist in developing new procedures and supporting various research objectives. And so one of the key tests that we perform in our laboratory, the cryptopyral quantitative urine, which you'll notice is one of the biotypes mentioned for depression in Dr. Walsh's book. And one of the key analysis that we use to look at double deficiencies of Zinc and B6 is a test that was developed by a family member of mine in our laboratory. And so
Wow.
our lab is built specifically to support these key chemistries that get the gold standard, the elements that are necessary to support these advanced nutrient therapy protocols. And that's why DHA was built. It was built specifically to look at these markers that are critical for brain health.
That's wonderful. And so for those of you who are listening today, we're doing something different. So because we're giving away a complimentary full metabolic analysis and consultation, we are going to combine our radio listeners, our YouTube listeners, our Facebook listeners, and the 20th person who reaches out to me will get this free gift. So whether you're on Facebook Live, you can send it to me on the instant message, or text or call 407-373-5959. And we're going to continue with Dan Hanson of DHA Lab when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Oh, Dan, I'm so sorry. That was a rough start. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live was not coming on when it was supposed to come on. So I was able to attach it right when you started talking, Dan. So welcome. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, welcome. Let us know that you're watching today and where you're watching from. We'd love to include you in this conversation. If you have any questions, anything that triggers a thought, please feel free to ask it, because this is the time where this classroom, that's my classroom, I get to share it with all of you, because I'm sitting here and I'm learning as much as I possibly can. And so I hope that you too will feel empowered to learn with me. So let us know where you're from. Oh, Sarasota, thank you so much. Oh, Patty, thank you so much for listening. Oh, okay. The way you win is you send me a private message, because I will look at the time slots for everyone, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text, or a private message. So if you want to free, how much is this worth? This
$448.
$448. Unbelievable. And we're also giving this away to 2 other people that responded to the requests before. So this will be your third, and me. You reached out to me, and or you offered me a test as well, and we will be discussing that with Dr. Mensah. I believe that's going to be towards the end of February.
Yes.
But I don't know if you're at liberty to talk anything about that. Are you?
I'm open to talk about it in any way that you'd like.
Okay, awesome. So I need to pull up my labs, because these labs are so important, because it was the first time. Oh, and here we go. The phone is ringing. Okay, so I don't respond. I don't answer the phone. So keep calling and keep texting. So here we go. We're 30 seconds to music starts. Thank you, Andre, because I cannot hear the music. That was a really rough start today. So let me know. I'm glad that you're counting me down. And for those of you, keep listening. Ask the questions. I know, Patty, you'll probably have lots of questions. Kai Smith, thank you so much for joining from Melbourne. I'm glad that you're with us. Okay, here we go. It's time to dance. Okay, now we can hear the music. It's time to dance, Dan.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave your
Time to raise the roof.
373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show /classroom. This is where we learn and grow together. And today's teacher is Dan Hanson of DHA Laboratories. And so very generous. I was talking about this off the air. I have received the complimentary, a complimentary full metabolic analysis and consultation with Dr. Mensa. Unbelievable consultation. And we're going to talk about what that is with Dr. Mensa towards the end of February, because we also have 2 volunteers that have been dealing with depression and possibly anxiety, and they're going to go through this process. I have never dealt with depression. I have never dealt with anxiety. Well, I guess I control my anxiety by doing the things I need to do, by getting it out of my system, whether it's running or sitting down and writing down a checklist that I need to do and getting it out of myself. That's how I deal with it. But it turns out through the testing that I was severely zinc deficient. So with that in mind, Dr. Mensa sat with me via Zoom, and we spoke about this. We recorded the conversation because I knew that he was going to say things that I may need to go back and learn. But it was a very interesting conversation that started off with my interview with Dr. Bill Walsh, the author of Nutrient Power. There's 7 types. Let's talk about these 7 types, Dan, and thank you so much for being so generous. For the 20th caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and this will also include private messages through Facebook Live. And so you can go to @Lillian's radio show. So let's talk about this, Dan, and what these 7 types are and how you guys discovered this.
Absolutely. So Dr. Bill Walsh's work is built around looking at these elements that are really critical, like we were talking about originally, to producing neurotransmitters. And it started with identifying repeat offenders. He's a very data-driven scientist and a researcher that specifically has one of the largest databases in the world for kids on the autism spectrum, has looked at varying mental and emotional condition populations. And what he was looking for and what developed these biotypes are repeat offenders. If we were going to run thousands of chemistries on varying patient populations, what we'd want to know are things that really continued to come up over and over again. And that's what we were looking at. We were taking, and really when I say we, I'm talking about the community as a whole of people that are interested in supporting mental health and really alleviating these negative symptoms in healthy ways, in ways that you can achieve, independently or really with a physician's support. And so what we did was we just determined, hey, what are all these varying chemistries that continue to become elevated, that continue to show their face in all types of conditions, and what can we do to approach them, and what does that look like for patients? And that's really what you find a lot of in Nutrient Power, healthy case studies based on these biotypes that are determined in repeating labs that constantly show up as offenders.
Very good. And so when you're talking about offenders, I'm going to go back with Dr. Bill Walsh, or he likes to be called Bill. He wanted to be called Bill on the show. And
Sure.
what he said was that it started off as a prison ministry many, many years ago, like 35 years ago. And he was playing chess with this guy who was a repeat offender, and he wanted to get out and stay out.
Sure.
And because they all kept coming back. And that's what started triggering the question, why?
Right.
Why. And so, go ahead. Would you like to add anything to that?
Oh, I think that's one of the most fascinating parts of the story. And realistically, it's something that people can connect with, that you might find a family of individuals that have a wonderful home and a wonderful environment, and you believe that that environment is everything that they need to be the healthiest version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they even have brothers and sisters that are extremely healthy, but maybe there's just one brother, one sister, one child that seems to have an issue, seems to have a condition that they can't really explain if it was based from nature, from nurture, if it was, what's the causative factor and what can we do to really make a difference in their life. And so the stories of playing chess with prison inmates and traveling with inmates to research facilities to learn about their brain chemistry is just absolutely like a work of passion and a story that should be told.
That's right. And we talked for those of you who want to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. you could pull out, you can pull the show with Bill Walsh, and he tells a story of how this all came about. So it was a progression. And sometimes we just need to trust the process. This process of giving back to the community turned into a passion of his. Now, at what point did you guys get involved with Dr. Bill Walsh?
Dr. Bill Walsh opened the original Pfeiffer Treatment Center. When we moved past taking some of those patients, some of those inmates to research facilities, he was taking them to Princeton University and seeing a famous physician, a famous researcher as well, Dr. Carl Pfeiffer. And Dr. Carl Pfeiffer really inspired what Dr. Walsh did in that time and continues to do today. And so he named his treatment center after Dr. Carl Pfeiffer, the original Pfeiffer Treatment Center. And our laboratory became involved at that time, performing some of the key chemistries that were essential for allowing their treatment model to exist.
Very good. And so you talked about this cryptopyrrole.
Sure. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
It is. Say it again so that people understand what.
It's cryptopyrrole, and that is the name of the test. The test is looking for the pyrrole molecule, and the pyrrole molecule is one of those hidden tests. It's one of those hidden things that people don't really know about, but it's one of the key molecules that actually causes a deficiency in zinc and B6, which ultimately produces neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine. So it's one of the key building blocks for healthy brain chemistry. And we can now look down at that root molecule and say, what's causing this double deficiency? And can we kind of alleviate that issue, which is our goal. We're looking at the core elements. What can we do to allow the body everything and basically give it the building blocks it needs to operate healthily on its own?
So what is wrong with the cryptopyrrole? What happens to that generates the malfunction?
Sure. So everybody makes this pyrrole molecule. It's a byproduct of building red blood cells. So when your body makes red blood cells, it just makes the secondary molecule that you excrete through your urinary tract. And some people, due to an epigenetic occurrence, like a really stressful event or a traumatic event in life, some people due to genetic risk, some people due to high oxidative stress will overproduce that molecule. And when it's overproduced, it binds to zinc and B6 in the bloodstream, and it actually depletes it through the urinary tract. So you can supplement with zinc and B6 and sometimes not see those levels raise. You can notice zinc deficiency in people and B6 deficiency side by side and ultimately get to the root cause of why they're deficient and fix that so that those nutrients become bioavailable and they're meaningful for you when you take them and eat them.
Very good. And so for those of you who are listening to Dan Hanson, he is with DHA Laboratories, and he's offering a free, complimentary, full metabolic analysis and consultation. This is worth $448. So because we have one that we're giving away, we've already given two away, actually three, because I had the testing done too, but also two other people have volunteered for the show on the 27th to come and talk about what the changes have done for them. And so hopefully we'll be able to do that. But we're also giving one for the listeners, and it's going to be a combination. So whether you want to call me or text me at 407-373-5959, leave a message. I don't answer the phone during the show. That's 407-373-5959, or you want to send me a message at Facebook. So that's facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. You can also go to whenyouneedafriend.com, and there's that little messenger little thing. You just click on that and you just say, I want to win. I want to win the full metabolic analysis. So I'm excited that my listeners, as well as two private people who have volunteered to go through this, that have dealt with depression. So let's talk about who are the people that benefit from this testing.
Well, that's an amazing question because there's a wide scope of people. You might even recognize Dr. Walsh's work from the biohacker community. People that really want to optimize themselves as human beings and be the best that they can be will take a look at these key elements because they're essential for just healthy biochemistry, for you being the healthiest version of yourself. But Dr. Walsh's work is mostly based around mental and emotional conditions, whether that's anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and working to suppress those negative symptoms in the autism community and kids and patients that are on the autism spectrum. It's really because that's been a passion of Dr. Walsh's and where he's focused the majority of his work. So with the majority of the research being in that area, that's where we see the most interest. And that's where we see really the most benefit for people, because we get a lot of great success stories.
Yes. Well, I'd love for you to share anything that comes to your mind and you say, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have joined this family tradition and this made it all worth it.
I think it's the same story that not only myself, but a lot of the members of DHA staff share, that work on the phones and through email communication day in and day out with people who are either patients of physicians that work with the lab or take part in the consultation programs that we support. The items that we want to help your audience get today for free are things that people day in and day out that don't have access to seeing the best care locally. Maybe they don't have a physician that understands how to holistically support a mental and emotional condition, and they don't want to be dependent specifically on prescription medication. Well, hey, they can utilize this service, and we get amazing feedback. One of the ones that I can quickly mention without saying too much about people is that there was a lady that I worked very closely with to help tailor the panel to her son, who was finishing out primary school. I think he was in the 5th grade or 6th grade, and the teachers had requested they would remove him from the class. They wanted to find a special care program for him due to outbursts and other things that had occurred during the class, and she had succumbed to that in a very depressed way herself. You know, she wasn't happy about it. And through this program, they were in rural Montana, through this program of being able to support her primary care with advanced nutrient therapy, she saw an amazing turnaround within 3 weeks, and she was able to re-enroll her son into school successfully.
That's wonderful.
It was a very great story.
That's wonderful. So for those of you who would like to participate in today's giveaway and you feel lucky and this is the way you want to, instead of wanting to take, you're tired of taking the pharmaceutical drugs that is a one-size-fit-all, you want to figure out what fits you. You can call 407-373-5959 or text 407-373-5959. For those of you who are watching on Facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, or if you're on Facebook, it's at Lillian's Radio Show, you can message me. There's so many different ways. So the 20th, I'm going to do a combination of everything because we're giving one away. And that's a $448 value. Do you want to see what your deficiencies are? Again, I'm not against the pill. I say you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. I'm not against the pill, but I'm for everything you can do to make yourself better without the pill. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dan Hanson of DHA Lab when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. That is, it's great, Dan. Let me just say, Sam, we have people that are listening from London, England. Will they qualify too if they want this?
We do have a draw site in London that will support these labs. And so, make that work.
Sam, thank you so much for listening today from London. Thank you for calling me a good teacher. I'm not the teacher, I'm the student. But Dan is our teacher today. Maybe you made it for him. So maybe he was saying, you're a good teacher, Dan.
Well, thank you.
But thank you so much. So Sam, whether you're in England or if you're in Florida or anywhere around the world, we'll check and see. But you qualify too if you want to have this testing done. Maybe there's someone you know or love that's dealing with depression. Tag them on this. Share the post. Go to the Facebook page. There's a little share button, and you can share it there, or you can put people's name privately. And so that'll tag them to this broadcast as well. I have dealt with some major issues in my life, some very sad or traumatic. We all go through these things. Is
Sure.
it the deficiencies in the body that create the anxiety, or is it the learned behavior, Dan? What have you seen in your research?
Well, what it really comes down to is these deficiencies don't allow us best to deal with emotional stress and physical stress. And so being able to optimize the supplies that our body draws from so that
Mhm.
we can fuel our brain best and we can fuel our biochemistry best is what really allows us to receive these better than we could without these building blocks, and allow us to excel in the best ways that we can when it comes to emotionally dealing with these items, and
Mhm.
being aware of, hey, in times of need, there might be additional vitamins and nutrients that I can take that'll help support my mental and emotional state. So there are tricks to learn that help you, and from a holistic standpoint, it's knowing that you're supporting yourself as best as you can for a good response.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I remember when Bill Walsh was talking at the ACIM conference, I
Sure.
couldn't even take notes. I couldn't
Sure.
even take notes because I just needed to absorb everything and let it permeate. And after he was done talking, I'm like, you need to be on my show. Here's my card. Let's do whatever it takes. And he was so kind and so generous because it's time. It's time for us to take our health back.
Right.
We trust our doctors. We trust our doctors to you go in with depression or anxiety, but the reality is our body is speaking to us. I'm sad,
Sure.
and because maybe there's the deficiency, maybe we can't process that.
Right.
Has that made sense? Have you seen that
Absolutely.
once they have this deficiency taken care of, now they can slow down their thought process? What else?
Absolutely. There are case studies that show that. Specifically with the pyrrole molecule, we know because it's deficient in zinc and B6, those nutrients are quick to act and it's quick to reverse. So there are case studies in Dr. Walsh's book where he
Yes.
talks about angry individuals who have violent outbursts that identify these key chemistries, adjust nutrients, and see turnaround almost instantaneously because they're able to support their biochemistry better, which ultimately allows them mentally to be able to have a better picture of what to do, slow down, and just be a better person.
I
And
love it.
so it works that way where some people just can't operate well, and they don't tolerate that stress well without these building blocks.
It's something that we're not being told. By the way, Dan, are you seeing the messages from
Yes, I am.
you are? Okay, because I'm seeing it too, but it says it's private. So I'm glad that you're seeing the messages from
30 seconds,
Audrey.
the last one I
There
see.
you go. Okay, good. I was concerned because it said private on there, and I didn't know if I was the only one that was seeing the messages. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube later on or on Facebook at Lillian's radio show, just know that this is also a radio show, so we do have to take breaks, unfortunately. Maybe someday we won't have to take breaks because the show will be funded by somebody and we don't even have to stop. So that's my vision. Yeah?
I love it.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the show and how to get a hold of us, and then I'll reintroduce you. Okay, Dan?
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407
You're doing great. You're a
373
pro.
5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we are heard worldwide. We have listeners. Sam in London, I'm so excited that they are listening today. And all the people in Melbourne and all the people in Jacksonville, we're being embraced by a community of people that are ready to take their health back. Does that sound like you? Have you been dealing with depression, anxiety, or a habit that you just can't break? Could it be that there is a deficiency? And could it be that that deficiency has caused a lot of emotional trauma? And maybe they work together. Maybe even if you're dealing with the emotional trauma, you haven't dealt with the physiological damage that maybe the deficiencies are causing in your body. So, we don't know what we don't know. And that's what we talk about on the Lillian McDermott radio show. We talk about the things that we don't know. And this was certainly an eye-opener. I have heard it, I have felt it, but to have the data that Dr. William Walsh has, and now DHA Laboratories have as a result of working with Dr. Walsh. I want to encourage you to learn more about DHA Lab, and you can go to it's DHA DHALab.com, or you can call them at 847-222-9546. So they are generous in giving away the complimentary full metabolic analysis with consultation. That's a $448. And even if you're in England, or if you're in a different place, if you're listening in India, or if you're listening in Australia, it doesn't matter. Just let us know, and we'll say if you can also qualify for this, because there might be a lab in your area that will draw and send to them. And so this is where we all work together for the greater good. I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, because when you do that, you'll have all the information of who's going to be on the show, the links to get a hold of them. You also have the show, the podcast of the show, the audio podcast sent to your phones or tablets, wherever it is, your email. And then once you're there at whenyouneedafriend.com, you can click on the different icons, little buttons, and you can become a subscriber or a follower, or you can like or follow on Facebook at Lillian's Radio Show, or all the other social medias. But you can also click onto the YouTube button if you want to watch and receive this video at your email. If you subscribe, you will get that too, if that's what you choose to. So there's so many different ways to get to stay together. Today, I want to encourage you to be the 20th caller, texter, or messenger on Facebook that will the 20th person that will send me a message, and I will look at the time slots and calculate this very carefully. You will win a free complimentary full metabolic analysis and consult with Dr. Mensa. And let me tell you, he is amazing. That's a $448 value. And even if that's affordable to you and you don't win today, please consider it, because I learned a lot about myself just listening to my body and what is going on where I cannot see. I want to also, if you're not a podcast, YouTube or a Facebook kind of person or social media, you can follow us on on our podcast. We're on most every single podcast that is out there: iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and I don't know if I said iHeartRadio, but let's stay connected 24/7. Finally, the number to call or to leave a message or text is 407-373-5959. We have Dan Hanson, who is you're your title, because you've changed your title. What is your title today?
Vice President.
You're vice president. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was CEO, vice president, or what. I'm sure you do everything there. And so you're the VP of DHA Lab, and you're hearing it straight from him, what he is willing to do for you. And so let's go through the process of getting this testing done. You
Sure.
have certain sites that you can go to for this. Tell us a little bit more.
Absolutely. So getting those key reports and understanding those chemistries will include completing some laboratory testing, and completing them is generally a combination of completing a little bit of a specialized kit from home and heading into one of our collection sites to have some blood work done. Mm-hmm. We contract with thousands of collection sites nationwide through a couple different big networks that allow us to basically have people walk into facilities anywhere around the country, complete tests, receive results, and get all of the information that they need to pair that with a health history and have a meaningful consultation with a physician that understands how to partner these advanced nutrient therapies with your primary care support and help you understand who you are biochemically and what you can do to really create the best brain chemistry for yourself.
Okay, so that's so important for all of us to take our health back. As I said, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. That pill, it's not, I'm not against the pill, long-term perhaps, but short-term, you might need something just if it's life saving, because there are times where that is needed. But on a long-term, that one pill is given to you as a one-size-fits-all, but not one person has the same condition as the next. We all have different environmental exposures, different emotional exposures. There's so many different qualities. So this one pill is saying every single one of you is going to respond the same way. But do you know the results of the side effects of these pills? I mean, Dan, have you seen in your testimonies of people that have gone off the pill, medically supervised, gone off the pill, and now they're using supplements or maybe doing the emotional work that they need? How what is the turnaround that you've seen for some of these people?
Oh, it's amazing. There was a wonderful article that Dr. Walsh was featured in called Weaning Away from Psychiatric Medications. And it was talking specifically not only about how people can take their health back by supporting this biochemistry and reprogramming their brain with advanced nutrients, but it also talks about mistakes that are made and how laboratory testing, advanced laboratory testing, the stuff that we offer, part of the metabolic analysis that you're offering today as a team, we're offering includes a methylation marker. Methyls are a key chemical that's essential for neurotransmitters to fire. And the methylation marker is going to be included in that panel. It's an essential element, but what it also does is it biotypes individuals to be receptive to SSRI medications. And it's a marker that we don't see used in the healthcare system today. It's a guess approach. It's a, hey, these symptoms fit this diagnostic model, take this medication, and we hope it does the best. And what Dr. Walsh's work is indicating is that you can identify the biochemistry of somebody that would be receptive to SSRI medications by doing these advanced labs. It's even been recommended, a Fox News article covered recommending it for all people that were going to go on SSRIs as a predetermination of if it will work or not. And so, these are the things that people need to understand. They can support, they can understand, they can take a little bit of the guessing work away and empower themselves with the education essential to approach treatment in a way that they're comfortable with and that they have a grasp over, so that when you don't have somebody, when your primary care isn't there every moment of the day for you to talk to, at least you can take the next steps personally to know you're on the right track and approach biochemistry in an educated manner. And that's what our labs do.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so you guys do more than this. I noticed that you have the copper serum and thyroid panels, D panels.
Sure.
How important is that? Is that part of the comprehensive full metabolic? Okay.
It is. What you're looking at when you're doing the comprehensive metabolic panel is in this analysis is what we return to with the repeat offenders. These are the key labs that have been identified to repeat because they support the development of key neurotransmitters. So it looks at percentage of unbound copper. One of the things people don't realize, copper is an essential element for the production of every single cell in your body. And it's something that we have in our environment in great amounts, but it binds to a particular protein molecule, ceruloplasmin. And so we can tell you if, hey, you've got the right amount of copper, you've got too little amount of copper, or you even have what we know as radical or unbound copper, meaning that the intake has been so high through copper water pipes or environmental factors that you've got a higher level that's able to safely bind to those protein molecules and be carried. And, our brains are electrical factories. So looking at copper as an electrical conductor, you can literally link the ability to overfire in your brain to excess levels of copper that are unbound to ceruloplasmin, causing what we know is a radical copper issue.
And someone hears that and they do an overload. And we don't know what we don't know. Again, once we get those numbers, the numbers that are in a lab are different than the numbers that Dr. Walsh and Dr. Pfeiffer look at. And so I do want to talk about why it's different. We don't have that much time in this segment, but I do want to talk about why these numbers are different.
Sure.
And so for those of you who would like a free complimentary full metabolic analysis and consultation, be the 20th caller or texter 407-373-5959, or you can messenger me at Lillian's Radio Show. And that's facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. Let's figure out, it's not a puzzle without a puzzle piece missing. And so we need to figure out what that missing piece is, and you can take your health back. Victim no more. Let's take our health back. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dan Hanson when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. It is, Dan, this is what baffles me. And for those of you who are watching, I would love for you to share where you're from. Let us know if this makes sense to us, to you, if this is something that you're interested in for someone else or for yourself. Make sure you private message, so that you can have an opportunity. The 20th person. This is so generous, Dan. Thank you so much for your generosity, because not only are you giving one of my callers or texters or messengers one, but you've also given me this test, and you're gonna be coming back with Dr. Mensah, right? We're gonna okay, so you're coming back with Dr. Mensah, and that's when we're gonna discuss a little bit about my results and with the couple that's gonna be taking these tests. I'm excited for them because they have dealt with certain parts of their life. Now, how much of this does your group as well offer counseling? Because Dr. Mensah offers a consultation. Someone else calls and says, these are the vitamins that you need to take. And then what?
Well, then it's about the follow-up recommendations as well. So you're going to want to look at those key labs that were outside of the optimal ranges. Make sure that the treatment program that you are working on has helped adjust those values and at what rate, and then retest. And that's what retesting does. It says, hey, we had a baseline marker. We now understand how the advanced supplementation has affected those areas that were outside of the optimal range and at what rates, so we can determine how long do particular nutrients need to be introduced and continued, and at what volumes. Those are all going to be things that are only for you. They're completely individualized. Every person may uptake nutrients different and absorb nutrients different, need larger and smaller dosages depending on, varying factors.
Yeah, this is so important. Again, when I heard Bill speaking at the ACIM conference, just my heart was pounding. I knew that this is information that we need to get out there. And unfortunately, we are bombarded with pharmaceutical drug industry numbing us to the point, Dan, that they're telling us that this side effect could be death, but there's beautiful imagery of people laughing and jumping on the beach. And it's like, you just want that, what you see, not what you're hearing.
Right.
How many times have you watch television and seen, and I propose this question to all of you who are watching right now at Lillian's radio show, on Facebook Live. How many times have you seen this? I mean, what do you think when you see these now?
Oh, it's absurd. I can't help but stare at the screen and say, how could you possibly tell me that we're going to offer a solution that comes with 50 other issues? The issues are longer than the solution in every scenario.
Yes.
And you're right, the imagery is trickery. It's truly trickery. People see what they want, but they get to hear a very small portion of what it actually means for them.
Here we go. Good timing. This is our last segment. Can you believe it?
Time flies.
It does.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is the VP of DHA Labs. You can go to dhalab.com if you want to learn more. Let's say you think that you want this testing, no matter whether you win or not. You can try to win, but if you don't win, you still want to do this testing. Valuable information. It will share with you what your deficiencies are when it comes to your emotional well-being. And so with that in mind, I want to remind you that you can call or text. When you call, just leave a message, because it will be time-stamped. Call, leave a message at 407-373-5959, or you can go onto Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, and you can send me a private message. I will make sure that all of this is all looked at. Now, on my last break, because I'm so excited about bringing this information, I neglected to mention to you, while you are at whenyouneedafriend.com, please check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, there would be no show. So there's a sponsorship button, and you can click on that, and figure out different ways you can support them the way they are supporting the show, because this information is not out there. Dan, you and I were talking about, and thank you so much for being on the show today. You and I were talking about how we're being lulled into thinking that one size fits all. And we're being manipulated and controlled by images. So you see that this particular pill might cause, loose stools or a heart condition, or it might cause death. But then there's this beautiful images of a family having fun together and jumping on the beach. But in the meantime, they're saying the side effect might be death.
Right.
But we completely ignore that because we're seeing all these beautiful imagery. And then our doctors aren't being informed of this. Or if there's a side effect that you're reading, they'll say, oh, it's very rare. What? Rare?
It's a statistic. Right. It's a statistic. And, ultimately, they have to play it safe. They have to play it smart. It's not always about the individual as much as it is about being able to support the largest population. And that returns right to the optimal ranges we were discussing in the testing.
Yes.
You mentioned that people can run vitamin and nutrient-based labs and see these really wide numbers that appear to be optimal, but truthfully, the heavy research and the people that are entrenched in brain chemistry will tell you those numbers don't make sense. And again, that's a statistics game. When you go to a laboratory, the government has a requirement where we run an average of all the patients, and that means regardless of if they're 5 years old or 75 years old or 30 pounds or several hundred pounds, that we're going to run an average and call that in a wide range what's optimal. But when you're working with key people like Dr. Albert Mensa or Dr. William Walsh, what you get to know is that their research drives home these optimal functional ranges that are based around the patient populations that you're in, and really helps you optimize and learn specifically about what's meaningful to you, not the remainder of the population, because we'd hate to see you be one of those statistics on the pharmaceutical medication list.
That's true. That's true. I have a really good friend who I work with right now, and he is the founder of First Alternative Care. And I bring a lot of his products to my doctors because they're holistic and alternative. And, his father received a lethal dose of a blood thinner that killed him. And had they had the information, Michael Legal has been on my show, and we have worked really tirelessly to bring one of my off-the-air sponsors or affiliate sponsors as First Alternative Care, so that everybody has all this information at their fingertip with telemedicine, whether it's a gut check or DNA, just to know that this is part of our component. So I want to encourage people to also go to whenyouneedafriend.com and click on to the First Alternative Care button, because it's so important that we look at the whole person. Now, when we're looking at the blood markers, where this is the low range and this is the high range, does that mean anything other than this is the lowest and this is the highest and this is where you fall? Does it mean low is good, high is bad? What does that mean to us as we're looking at these labs?
So it means something unique for each individual person. And 90% of the time, you're always going to want to be in the optimal range. You're going to want to look at yourself and say, hey, these labs, these nutrient markers are exactly where they should be. But some of these labs have unique meanings. For instance, we talked about that methylation marker, where when they're low, that actually causes elevated markers in terms of methylation. So you might have a very low marker.
Talk a little bit about methylation and what methylation means.
Right. So the methyl chemical is a chemical that's responsible for allowing your brain to fire neurotransmitters. It's like the key that turns on the engine, if you're going to call the firing of a neurotransmitter the starting of a car. And people can either undermethylate, overmethylate, or optimally methylate. We learn a lot about methyl genetics. People talk about the MTHFR and all these varying genetic markers, but what we don't always talk about, because it's more advanced and it's generally expensive, is how do we determine if that methylation issue is presenting in us? And that's what our metabolic analysis offers.
Mhm.
It offers you the ability to understand if you're over, under, optimally methylating. And when you're over methylating, things that can happen are being really lethargic, less drive. When you're under methylating, you might find yourself consistently firing at all times and knowing that it's not complete until you feel it's complete. And it's been done very, very, very well. Some of the under methylators of our time are people like famous athletes and wealthy families that are built in legal systems and things like that because they're overachievers. So they drive right into who we are, and the methyl chemical does a lot of that.
Yeah. And so when you know this, you are able to adjust, right?
Absolutely. It's about knowing your symptoms, what makes you go, what's important for you, what really can cause an issue in your day-to-day, and then running these markers, looking at the labs, and adjusting with physician supervision like what Dr. Mensa offers in our consultation program so you can safely get to an optimal range and alleviate those negative symptoms that you have identified that are trouble for you.
Absolutely. And again, I went through this work, this testing, and I went to LabCorp and I had my blood drawn there. First, I received a package. I had my blood drawn at LabCorp, which is one of the facilities that I could go to. And you send me options of where I can go. I chose that one because that's where I normally go to. And then I had to collect my second urine, right? This not the first urine, but the second urine.
Correct.
And then you freeze it. It has to be frozen and sent to the lab. So there's a protocol that needs to be followed. And it's amazing what you find out from just those little draws that you get. And again, for those of you who would like to be the winner of this free full metabolic analysis and consultation worth $448, you can call or text 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Or you can send me a private message at Lillian's Radio Show. That's in Facebook at Lillian's Radio Show. And the 20th combined will be the winner. And I'm really excited. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Dan, before we go today?
Take healthcare in your own hands. Know that mental health isn't an uncharted water. It isn't something that you'll get lost in. It's something we can help with. It's something that you can learn about. Find yourself looking into Dr. William Walsh, Dr. Albert Mensa, the greats like Dr. Carl Pfeiffer. Call the laboratory. Email us if you have any questions. We are absolutely here to help you. And Lillian, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience because I believe that you guys are the future of taking healthcare in your own hands and helping people know there's a solution out there. They don't have to suffer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. There are so many different outside influences that tell us we can't, but it's nice to find like-minded people that let us know we're enough and that we can figure this out. And I'm glad that you are partnering with us to make this happen. 407-373-5959, call or text, or at Lillian's Radio Show, 20th caller, texter, or message. Thank you so much, Dan, for everything that you're doing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the end of the month. And
yes,
for those of you, my listening friends, just please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Wonderful. Okay, so now that we're off the air,
yes.
Is there anything that you would like to add, Dan, to, for those of you who have any questions that are watching on Facebook, this is your time alone. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. Dan, is there anything that you would like to add to what we learned, what we discussed, that maybe I didn't ask the question, that it's important for them to know?
I think that we covered a lot of the basis when it comes to the essentials of what we do, what people really get out of this, and ultimately, how they can take action. But some of the areas that are really interesting to tune into are the upcoming research and the articles that we consistently produce, looking at new patient populations and, helping people that suffer from depression and anxiety, et cetera. So I really encourage people to follow companies like the Walsh Research Institute and DHA and hone in on the upcoming and newly published science that can allow them to basically continually empower themselves
Mhm.
and continually develop the education necessary to make the smart choices. I always tell people, I think you said it great in a nutshell there. We have a great medical system for saving a life if you're in danger. If you've broken your arm, we'll definitely fix it.
Yeah.
And medication, it's a statistics game with a lot of prescriptions. We know it works for certain people, but you are an individual. You can learn about yourself. You can build your own medical profile and have the questions that you believe are tough to answer answered for yourself, and propose those with science to the doctors that you're working with, and develop a strong plan with your physician. And so by staying educated and staying on top of that stuff and applying it to you and your loved ones, that's how you make a difference.
Yeah. And it's sad because we all sometimes look at life as a puzzle, right? We don't know. Some people have an image of what the puzzle is supposed to look like, and God bless you if you're those kind of people. But there are people who don't have the cover of the box. They
Sure.
don't know what the puzzle looks like, and they don't even know if there are puzzle pieces missing. And
Right.
so what I loved about this testing, like, for example, with me, I don't suffer from depression and anxiety, but I know people who do. And, with me, I understand that there are, and I think Dr. Walsh said I was an undermethylator. I
Sure.
think that's what he said. He goes, I think you're an undermethylator without even doing my blood. And he said, because I said to you, and I said it before the show, I like to get things done and over with. So if I need to sit with myself and figure this out and process it, I want to be done with it. I want to move on. But sometimes things last a little bit longer, and I give myself extra time.
Sure.
Mourning or the losses in life and all those things. But there are people that don't understand that maybe this is beyond willpower. Maybe this is beyond discipline. And so to that, what do you say to my viewers right now that are saying, I've been told I don't have discipline, or that if I only did this, that I could do that? What do you say to those friends
The
that are,
odds could be stacked against you. I mean, realistically, people all have a unique story and a unique set of data points. And what we determine in these deficiencies, each deficiency you can look like is extra cards that are stacked against you in the deck. And it becomes almost impossible to overcome some of these areas that are referred to as discipline, that are, referred to as a lack of effort, or a lack of comfortability, the will to push through. It's truthfully, a lack of the knowledge in terms of what are those key elements that we're really overcoming, and how can we support them better. Anytime that you want to, we'll use the term win, if you want to overcome the issue at hand, you should look at all of the factors that can help you, because
Mhm.
by addressing those, what you're doing is increasing your odds of success. And so I believe that a lot of the people that fail at being successful on SSRI medications, that fail at, ultimately adapting to specific anxiety medications, are because their biochemistry is tailored for other types of support, and it's requiring it, and it's really thirsty for it. And that's the cause of what's not allowing you to really persevere. So you've got to address those. You've got to address those nutrient deficiencies, those elements of what produces key neurotransmitters, and really stack the odds in your favor, because that's going to
Absolutely.
allow you to cross the finish line.
Absolutely. And with me, with the one thing that they discovered, and we'll talk about this in our next show, is that I was low on zinc. So someone who's low on zinc, what are the side effects of low on zinc? How do they know that they're low on zinc?
Absolutely. So your body's ability to keep your immune system up is one of the key areas of zinc deficiency. Honestly, when you look at zinc deficiency, you can find a lot of detail. We were recently at the A4M conference, which is the Worldwide Congress for Anti-Aging Medicine, and there was a great presentation discussing zinc deficiency in terms of weight loss, and people that have zinc deficiency having an inability to shed weight in a similar fashion as people that have optimal zinc levels. And so zinc is just one of those essential elements. What people need to grasp is that since we're all different biochemically, different vitamin deficiencies and nutrient deficiencies can affect you in different ways. So someone might be zinc deficient, right? And they might have a completely different set of symptoms that they believe are ultimately partially caused by zinc deficiency than another person. And that's because, different environmental factors affect people in different ways. And so, someone who's an undermethylator might be Michael Jordan, where someone who's an undermethylator that isn't prone to dealing with that in a particular mental fashion can become obsessive compulsive and can find the need to have repetitive actions to soothe that what they believe, that will to finalize, that will to be in the right place, because they are overachievers, which is something that's commonly associated with undermethylation, which is something that I've identified in my own biochemistry. So, I think it can be a strong trait, but it's got to be harnessed, and it has to be supported with nutrients effectively.
Very good. I am very grateful to you, Dan, and I'm thankful that your generosity to give away. I'm looking forward to seeing the results with somebody, because the person who wins today will not be able to come on the show, but we have made a commitment to mental health once a month to have these shows and these conversations, because many of our followers, or many people out in the world, believe that somehow they're doing something wrong. Why can't I do what my siblings are doing? And then there's that comparison, and there's just the emotional, the teacher's telling you, why can't you just sit still? There's so many shame. There's so much shame attached to mental health or behavioral health, when it could be as simple as figuring out what the deficiencies are. So I just want to acknowledge you for what you're doing. Again, for those of you who would like to reach out to Dan and just go straight to them, and that's DHA Lab. That's D as in dog, H as in Harry, A as in Apple, lab.com. And their phone number is 847-222-9546. And of course, you can be the 20th caller, texter, or message that I receive today, 407-373-5959. And I'll also wait till it's up on YouTube, so that for people who are watching on YouTube, will have this opportunity as well. Just message me. And so I also want to encourage you to share this video with someone you love that may be feeling shame because they can't do what it is that everybody's telling them to do. Snap out of it, suck it up, buttercup, those different things that make us feel even worse about it. And so would you like to add anything to that? I saw you give me a big nod.
No, I just 100% agree with you. Like we said, the odds might not be in their favor, and this is what you can do to help yourself, and you do need to share it. And your emphasis on mental health is extremely relevant right now and extremely important, and I hope that it's more than this voice of when you need a friend, and this voice that you're sharing today is so powerful. So I just gave you a huge nod of encouragement and agreement. I'm with you 100% of the way, and I thank you for that as well.
Well, and here's the thing. The side effect of taking psychotropic drugs is depression, is suicide. And we're losing way too many people to suicide. And it may be a deficiency that they've had all along. And isn't it sad that there isn't one commercial on television say, hey, do you have a deficiency? Call DHA Lab. Figure out what this deficiency is before you start taking this SSIR. Or is it, I don't even know what the SSIR, whatever it is that they're going to give you to numb yourself. As opposed to deal with whatever it is with the proper balance, because they talk about chemical depression, Dan. But
Right.
what's the chemistry that's missing? Is it nobody is Zoloft deficient? So
Right.
let's continue this conversation, and I'm so grateful. Please share this video with anyone, like it, make a comment, and let's all grow together. Thank you so much, Dan, for
You.
everything that you're doing for our listeners and followers, and for the world as well. And so
Thank you.
now I'm going to say goodbye on Facebook and stop the live stream. Bye.
Bye, guys.
And then on YouTube. Thank you so much. Same thing goes for you. Share it and comment and have everybody view this information because it's so needed in the world. So little people are doing that. But I'm stopping the recording now. Bye.
All right. Bye.